So, I'm your host, Michael, and my camera is slightly off. And today we are talking about, or we are picking up where we left off yesterday. Yesterday we got this example program working where we could play macros back in the inside of an event loop. So we have some animations running here, and we have the ability to type while that's happening. So we have an event loop going on that's playing 3 different widgets simultaneously, one of which is processing keys. That's where we got yesterday. We are now the current task is to make this work with timing. So we have the timing kind of working. If you watch closely, there is some amount of timing information being used in that. Well, actually, there is. That is not true at all. There is very little timing information being used there. But there is timing information in the macro that's being played, and so we're going to fix that right now. What we did at the end of the last episode was we used these little example spinners or marquees using a time control. So we have a timer and we have FPS are the 2 things that are controlling this widget. I'm not sure that I want to, the idea of widgets is that each one of them is unique and they all do different things. And so most of them are not going to be animated, but when this one is playing a macro, it is animated. And when these spinners or marquees are animated, they are just all the time they are animated. You notice that they have different speeds, so we're controlling that with 2 different sets, 2 different member variables. So what is supposed to happen is that in this horrifically ugly macro that is being played that generates this string up here, which is the J code for the sum of the first 10 primes. Every time there is a underscore, it's meant to pause for some amount of time. And I don't believe that's actually happening here. So let's see why. Probably because there is a sleep function here, so that actually is probably happening. I just probably am not seeing it very much. But we don't want that. Basically, you shouldn't be sleeping inside of something inside of an event loop, because things inside of an event loop need to run fast as the main application is quickly rotating between each of those on a single frame. So we don't want to ever put a pause in here. Instead, we want to do something like what that spinner is doing. And probably at some point this is going to become part of the... actually, I'm going to put that line back for just 1 second, just so that I remember to do the random part. But we want to just remember to use the timer. So timer, time counter, and we're going to follow this pattern. And this may wind up being something that we use for all of the widgets, and so it's going to become part of the application platform itself. But for now, I'm just going to keep it as is. So in fact, I might even say like delay here, so rather than FPS. So time counter is going to be 0, and should I call it speed? I don't have an S in this thing, so let's call it speed. S equals every, whoops, how about next? And because we do want to introduce some amount of like random variation. Again, I don't want it to look entirely like a computer is typing this. I want it to look a little bit natural, and so I want to introduce a little bit of randomness in between each keystroke. So we don't have to do whatever. So I think time t is pretty standard, but let's say next. Next is going to be delay. Well, we'll call it next for now and see what happens. So yeah, because my thought is that we will at each tick we will randomly calculate what the next the time for next tick for next key press macro event. So when we run the do command is what triggers the macro. It's going to be q macro for playback, macro y, so y is the right argument to this function, and we're going to say that t equals 0, start the timer, and next is 0, so start immediately. Okay, and what we're going to do is if, so again, kind of following what the other widget did, we're going to say t is equal to t plus y, so we're getting that delta, and if t is greater than next, or greater than and equal to next, do. How about if t is less than next, return. And then otherwise, instead of end, we say otherwise, else. Else t is equal to 0, and so start the timer again, and next is equal to, and we're going to put what we have down here. So the speed So let's see. Is going to be 15, not 15 milliseconds, but 0.015, maybe probably we should call it words per minute or something like that. So words per minute. So some random jiggle, so a random, randomness. What would you call that? The variance, I guess. Typing speed variance, and plus words per minute. And this is words per minute, so we want words per minute divided by 60, right? We have words per minute divided by 60. That's how many seconds it would take. Is that right? No, we don't want words per minute. We want keystrokes per second. So typing, I'm just calling it typing speed. I'm not going to try and make it words per minute or anything like that. Plus typing speed, except we speed, t speed. All right, so typing speed variance and typing speed. I use TS for timestamp. So typing speed is going to be that 20, 15 or whatever, and TS variance is going to be 20. That seems odd. Let's do 25 and like 10. Typing speed. In maybe, it's just an arbitrary number right now. So how about keystrokes per second? No, because that's not. Keystrokes per second should be, if we did that, it would be like 0.01, right? Or, like 1. So like once every 10th of a second. 0.05 variance. Can I get a random number? 0.05. Right. Keystrokes per 10 seconds. How about that? How about keystrokes per minute? KPM. Key performance metric. Keystrokes per minute would be, let's say, if it's type 50 words per minute, so let's say 200. Let's say 300 keystrokes per minute, which is probably around, I don't know, we'll see what this, it doesn't really matter. And then the variance will be 25 variance for typing speed, random variance for typing speed. I don't mean variance in like the statistical sense, but just random change, for, random modifier for typing speed. Okay. So TSP. So next is going to be, these are seconds, so now we want this whole thing to be divided by 100. Or 1,000. Is it 100 or 1,000? 1,000. All right, I think that's right. Okay, so let's just double check that. So we have our counter, and then we have a keystroke, and then if it's less than that, we just return from the update function. We do nothing. Otherwise, we're going to run all this stuff, but first, and otherwise, if we're still here, we do this stuff. And we can put this just in one line. Some people don't like this, but whatever. That sounds good to me. Let's try and see how silly I am. Way too slow. T is T plus Y. We're getting updates every second. Next is equal to, what do we start with the next as? Next. If T equals T plus Y is less than next, do return. T equals 0. Next equals some big number. I've done something stupid here. Let's see. If it's less than next, do return. But it is increasing, we would hope. All right, so let's see what next. Oh, it is typing. It's just incredibly slow. Yeah, it's yeah, I meant to do that. Okay, that's why. It's still really slow. I meant to divide by 1,000. There we go. So that's really slow. So okay, so my speed is just too slow. So now if I bring that speed down, keystrokes per minute, that should be what, 800. I don't know. That would be twice as fast. So hang on. That doesn't make sense, right? This was 300. I calculated this correctly, but I did this 1,000. That should be like 60, right? Because we're talking about per minute, so so it should be 60 because we've got the counter is in seconds, and we have 60 seconds in a minute. Okay, I think my basic arithmetic is now up to par. Let's see. Nope. Okay. Yeah. TSP. TSP of ed. 300. So every 300 ticks. Right. So every 300 ticks. That's not what we want. Every. Man, I feel stupid now. Okay. Let's see. It's okay. I am not a genius. Let's just write this out with basic arithmetic. We need. We have t is in the unit of t is here. This just creates a string that does nothing. All right, so t is unit for t is what? Seconds, I believe. That's where we need to start. I got to double check what the unit I am working with is. So that we're getting at from the foreign word for time. I think it's 6.1. So it's seconds since J started running, and then we do have a decimal point. Okay, so it's seconds. So that is correct. T is seconds since last tick. Next is seconds. Is that true? Seconds since last tick? No. But Y is seconds since last tick. T is seconds since last key press. Next is seconds is next is the offset so how would you say that? It's seconds between last tick and next tick. So t is going from 0 to this number, and as t approaches this number, or as soon as t crosses this number, we proceed. Okay, so that all that I believe is correct. That sounds good. Okay, so TSP I think we should just make this. Okay, but hang on. We have a constraint here in that the random number generator. Oh, we can generate. So we can generate a variance. So okay, let's do this. Let's do TSV times some random thing, and so that way we don't have to just talk about division or anything like that. So we just have schedule next key press. So the base typing speed is going to be so TSV is just some random factor that added to the some random term added to TSP, and TSP is going to be, we want that to be seconds between keystrokes. I want that to be a number where if I move it up, it goes faster. So it really should be keystrokes per second, and it can be a small number. How about KPS? Can I call it KPS? KPS. And since we're dealing with seconds, that should just be the inverse of that. So K is seconds per keystroke. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so KPS, we do not want 300. We want about, I don't know, 4 or 5. So maybe 4.2. And the variance is going to be in seconds. And this is keystrokes per second. And a random modifier for typing speed is going to be this is, what is the unit for this? Some random term added to TSP, so it's added to underscore KPS. So it's in seconds per keystroke. Seconds in keystroke. So the unit for TSV is typing speed variance is in second speed. Random modifier for typing speed in seconds per keystroke. Okay, I think that works. And why? Oh, because TSV is way too big. So I don't want 25 seconds. I want something like half a second, 25. All right, so try that. That's not right. Is it 4? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Oh, that actually is about 4 so that's just a small number. Okay, so we want like 24, 12. I don't know. Let's just see. Let's just try different speeds. I don't know what a that's too small. Am I making just a ridiculous error in my? I think first of all, I think the macro itself has like a bunch of pauses at the start. So H is H is the key that moves to the left, and we are actually starting on the left because. So this is all garbage. So let's try that again. So this should start immediately now. Yeah. So that's moving right and left. Okay. That's slow. I'm going to double check my math here one more time. So 0, 0. Why? Second since last tick. Yes. Second since last key press. Is that true? We start at 0. We keep adding Y, so it's seconds. Whenever there is a key press, we set that to 0. So yes, this is correct. 0, sum of Y of Y over frames, animation frames. Next is the seconds between last tick and next tick. So maybe last key press and next key press. Seconds between last. We are in seconds, so yes, this is what I want. All right, so let's just see what that wound up being. So next of ed winds up being six hundredths of a second. 600ths of a second. Sorry. That should be a very small amount of time. I think my math is right, and what's throwing me off is I expect like a hundredth of a second to be like a very short amount of time, and when you're talking about key presses, it's apparently not. Like that's 600ths of a second right there. Okay, seconds per keystroke. So I think you just typing speed 50. There's no way that I type 50s. Okay, I'm feeling so dumb here. Is anyone in the chat can give me help me out with basic arithmetic? What am I doing wrong? I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm still sleeping. I'm not still sleeping. Something is sleeping somewhere. No? I'm gonna, okay, let's stop this. Let's play it. And I want to watch and see if the, well, I was thinking whether, if this changes speed or something. This seems to be, I'm gonna make this run as fast as possible, one of these scrollers, because I'm just feeling like something's going wrong here. It could be that the entire framework is slow, and that's frames per second. So if I do 20 frames per second by default, that should go super fast. Yeah, so that's going super fast, and this is still going super slow. So that's not an issue with the speed of the animation framework. It's the speed. It's my calculations are being stupid. KPS of ed is 52. Is something in, there's no sleep? What am I doing wrong? T plus y is less than x. That's correct, yes. Key presses per second. Is it wrong to flip that over? Keystrokes per second should be, if I want 50 keystrokes per second, that's a ridiculously high number to me. That seems like if you type 50 words, how many words are in a how many letters are in a word? Probably about 5, right? So if there are five letters in a word, and you type 50 words per minute, that's like 250 keystrokes per second. Okay, so yeah, I'm just vastly underestimating the so it should be like 250. No, that cannot be right. God, I'm so stupid. I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. I am very out of practice when it comes to math. All right, let's see. When it comes to arithmetic, because I'm used to just not having to do stuff like this. All right. But I also think, all right, so let me just double check that again. So let's just go to the scratch page. I don't need this. So let's type 50 words per minute is equal to, if it's 50 words per minute and the scaling factor is 5 characters per word, so that's characters per word, 5 words per minute times 5 characters per word. Yeah, that's is equal to 250 characters per minute. Okay, yeah, right. But then we have to divide that, times. All right, so now 250 characters per minute times 60 seconds per minute, 60 or Right, so it's one minute over 60 seconds. Is going to give us 250 divided by 60 characters per second. So 250 divided by 60 is 4. 4 characters per second. That is in line with my intuition. And that's about what I had before. Characters per second was about 4.2 or something for a slightly higher speed than that. Characters per second is 4. Seconds per keystroke. So okay, so if we're typing 4 keystrokes per second, one Mississippi. So the time it takes to Mississippi, that's 4 syllables. So the time it takes to make a syllable is the time it takes to make a character. Well, that means that this variation is almost the same size as a keystroke. So really, we want I don't want that much variation. I want like maybe even it's like maybe something like just a small fraction of that, like 10 times KPS. So I think that's what I'm doing wrong. Is that I'm averaging half a key. So if it's a random number between 0 and the length of the keystroke, then on average you're going to get half of the length of the key, half the time of the keystroke. So I want a much smaller variance than that. All right, so let's try that now. Not variance. One Mississippi. Mississippi. Okay, so that's still. What was my assumption? That I started with 250 characters per minute. 4 characters a second. So let's just see. Hello. MISSISSIPPI. 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 I feel like this is like I'm typing much faster, but I'm creating errors, and so just as a sanity check, I'm going to put this up to like 100 and something, and just see what happens when I do this, because I would expect this to go really fast. Yes, okay, that's what I'm expecting. So either I still have a bug in my math, or I have a bug in my intuition about how fast a second is, and how many. Like, that's way too fast. I think the math is right, and my intuition about how. Like, that looks slow to me. It seems it's almost like twice as slow as it ought to be. So maybe 15 or something like that. 15. That still seems way too slow to me. And you would think if it's the, if it were the application framework slowing down, this would go ridiculously. it would go much slower. It would slow this down. So it's not that. It's it's my math is just not what I expect. Let's see. Is flipping it seconds per keystroke, keystrokes per second? That's the same. Seconds per in seconds per stroke. In seconds per keystroke. Okay, well, I feel like I've kind of got a bug here. 20. Let's see. Mississippi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Mississippi. Mississippi. About 9 characters per second. Oh, and I've got delays in there. Oh my God, that's so stupid. I've got delays in there. Okay, so yeah, so I've got, this is right. This is exactly right. I have delays built into the macro. Man, I am just on a roll today. All right, so delete all those delays. There we go. That's wow. Okay, you do not have to be smart to be a programmer. It does help, but you can get there even if you make really stupid mistakes like that. Okay, so now let's see that. All right, so now we have the base animation running at the speed that we want. So that looks right. So yeah. So let's say that I stop to think for like right here. So we'll put a delay there, and then after we delete all the characters, we'll stop and think for a little while. This is all writing a script now for the hypothetical programmer that is performing these operations, performing all this typing. Hang on one second. I feel like my lighting is a little off now. Just something to focus on other than how silly I am as a developer at this moment. Okay, I don't know if that helps or not, but whatever. Okay, all right, so let's try that. Let's see if that works. Yes, that looks natural to me. And actually now that's a little too fast. So now we're back in the realm of, okay, I said I typed about nine words a second when I just in my little, as I type Mississippi Mississippi. That's actually eight characters because I don't have a 0 there. 0, no. Wow, off by 1. I'm just not going to talk about math. Arithmetic is not a skill that I have anymore. That's obviously 8 characters. All right, so there we go. We got pauses. It's going. Yeah, this is what I want. So that pause is actually too long, and we will make this probably a little bit better. Just a little less than realistic, or at least realistic for me. So type a little faster than I actually do. There we go. I like that. That is the kind of animation I'm looking for. That is the kind of speed I'm looking for, and it boggles my mind that it took me 40 seconds or 40 minutes to get there, but that's what we've got. All right. So we have speed control per widget. So per keystroke in the editor. Per keystroke in the editor. And we have it per widget. So I think we are finally done with macro timing. And so let me check my code in. UI edit. So I guess the description of this video is going to be, watch me struggle with basic math for half an hour, basic arithmetic. But I'm going to publish it because, maybe it will, maybe someone who's intimidated by J will be inspired by the fact that even a complete idiot can do this stuff. Okay. So let's see, UI edit. So typing speed. Typing speed for macro playback. Macro playback, how would you say, scale to typing speed? Okay, that's good. Excuse me. And let's see, what else do we have? GD in the REPL. All right, so this is so the next thing I want to work on. Well, let me check this in. Yeah, I actually don't want to keep these spinner things, or at least I don't want to keep them in this program, because it's called REPL because I intended to actually make a REPL. So I'm going to get rid of these, and I'm going to just put these in a IJS. I'm just going to put these in the top level directory, and let's call this marquee. I'll call this marquee. I was a little confused yesterday because I wasn't entirely sure the word marquee meant what I thought it meant. A marquee is the it's kind of like the, well, let's look it up again. It's the thing outside of a building. Where's a definition of marquee? A large tent, no, so a permanent canopy of metal and glass projecting over an entrance. So it's the thing that hangs over the entrance, an awning, or kind of that thing. But the reason I associate the word marquee with that behavior is because a marquee, some marquees on like a movie theater will have like LED displays or light bulbs or something like that to show a message that's scrolling across. And there is actually a HTML tag called marquee that provides scrolling text. So that is called a marquee, and so this is going to be called a marquee, and so I should call this a marquee. I'm not sure that I want to keep this in. I'm not sure I want to keep this at least the way it is, like with these hard-coded colors and whatnot. So some Scratch code that makes a marquee scrolling text, like a stock ticker kind of thing. Stock ticker display. How about ticker tape display? Ticker tape display. Ticker might be a better word for that, but a better metaphor for that. But they call it marquee in HTML. So to do, or at some point, I will clean this up and move it and make it a base widget for JKVM. Especially since this is part of the, I extracted this from the demo for JKVM, so probably when I get the widget framework kind of up and running, I'll make this a part of the demo, or like a demo widget or something like that. Okay, so I don't have to go to the Git tab to do this, but I'm going to git add marquee, marquee widget, Scratch code marquee widget. Push that away, and then in REPL now we want to get rid of those, so we don't need the spinners. We don't need that. Oops, that was the wrong key press. We don't need those. We still need the token editor, which is providing the syntax highlighting. We still need the app, and we still need ed, which is the actual editor. This was redundant now because it was just escaping out of the marquees area. So this schedules the macro, or queues the macro for playback. And that's it. So now, then when I define the app, I need to remove these no longer existing widgets, extant widgets, and same thing for these. Hello world, okay. So now I don't even need this macro. I can delete that. And we don't need the macro here. We've done our job of recording the macros. and proving that they play back. So I'm going to take this out. I do want to put this in somewhere. So somewhere in the future, we're going to play macros inside the script editor, or the what do I call these things? Screenplay editor. I always feel weird using that word, but that's, you know, it helps me distinguish the word. So I use screenplay for the text of the presentation I want to make, and script for the, you know, the actual code in J or whatever. So it could, because the word script is ambiguous when you're talking about a script for a programming thing, for a programming video. Okay, so so in addition to making this script, this screenplay, or this, you know, this environment that I have here for you know, editing screenplays for programming videos, I also actually do want to make a REPL, because I mean, I'm making I'm making videos in which I appear to be using this magic REPL that has all these colors and syntax highlighting. And I imagine that the first thing people are going to say, if they've used J at all, is like, "How did you get that? I want that." And if this is just a fake thing here, that's kind of cheap. I want this to actually be a REPL that people can download. So. And use. So I want, this should be the case that as soon as I log in, okay, we clear the screen, and then we should be able to type something, and we want it to evaluate in J. Another thing I want very desperately is to implement. This can wait. This is not urgent, but I keep pressing the key, and implement Control K, clear to end of line. And I think D in dim. We'll see. And probably just so I track it, the intent is to at some point decouple keyboard bindings, decouple key bindings, or make key bindings table driven. Right. So people who actually use, you know, so people can choose which keys they use for the REPL, for input. Okay, but that is not going to be something I do today. All right, so I do have okay. So what would it take to make this actually work? So right now, this thing right here is kind of doing what I want. And what it does is when it reads the file, the org mode file that has all these little lines in it. How am I doing on time? 10 minutes. So it, whenever it encounters one of these, it executes the command, and that produces a result in J, and so then it adds that as a it adds that as what am I saying? So this is like a playback buffer, right? So this is well, okay. Let me show you how this works, because I might not be able to actually do this today. trying to think through this. So if sorry, I got dead air. You're not supposed to have dead air. the way this works right now, the way a REPL should work or would normally work, we could say like, this is not valid j because it's not. Let's just do it here. While one do read line, read input, from the widget, and then j source to execute is this, and then evaluate the source. So the result is that, and then we're going to echo the stringification of the result, and then right. And so maybe if source is equal to, or source matches exit. It's a terrible way you escape strings, so that's exit, but quoted. Do return, else, do all this stuff. And then end the while loop. So fake REPL is something like that. Yeah, so string, so evaluate source, and then stringify the result. Stringify and echo result. And we can just try that. So fake REPL. I think because I would, did I not run? It's because I'm breaking it, right? Fake REPL. So it's, I don't know why that's not. Okay, that makes sense. So source is equal to read input. There we go. All right. So what is read input? Read line. So J does not. Hang on. There is something that lets you read from standard input, but it's kind of weird. Hang on. You can't do what I'm about to do. Is kind of what I'm getting at. Like we can kind of fake it because I forget what the verb for. Is it read line? Let's look at the standard library. Standard lib. SM. Wait, what? Hang on. Hello. All right, so now I have to press Control. Like it's going to read all of this, right? Until I press Control D, and so it returns. There's two copies. This is the one I typed, and then this is the result of that function. So to actually make this REPL work, instead of pressing Enter, you have to press Enter, and then on a blank line you press Control D. So this is not a good REPL in my opinion, right? Right. So fake REPL. So now we say, you know, just sum of the, or let's just do, you know, the reverse of the first 10 primes. Enter Control D. Spelling error, and now it's a spelling error because I've got so let's do fake REPL. I'm almost out of time here. So I'll just show that this is what I consider kind of a limitation of J. All right, so even let's just do I10. We press Enter, Control D, we get a spelling error. Why? Because the source is got that new line at the end. So what we really want is source is standard in minus CRLF, so without. So that will strip out the control CRLF characters. All right, so now we can say I10, enter Control D, and we get the result. And we can say X is equal to 5, enter Control D, we get the result. We can say X, enter Control D, we get the result. So X plus I10, enter Control D, we get the result. So we have a REPL here, but we have to do this Control D nonsense every time, and so that is not fun. If you want to make your own REPL in J and you don't want to use this widget framework that is, you know, giving us a way to read a line of input, then there is a way to do that. I worked that out many years ago, and I always find it here in GitHub. Tangent Storm, Tangent Labs. This is my file where you can see I play with all kinds of different weird languages. But if you go into the J directory, if you manage to be able to click on that single character, you go into the J directory, and there is a file called REPL here. And the way this works, I'll just run this. So I'll tell you how it works in 2 minutes I have left, and then I'll run it, and then I'll end this up because I'm just not going to, clearly not going to get anything else done today. So it looks like there is actually another way to read a single line of text. Hang on, wait a minute now. Maybe there is a way to do this. Maybe this is what I want. Maybe I'm, hang on. Okay, so, hello? Oh, interesting. Maybe I just learned something here. So 1, 1, and we're going to apply that to the number 1. So this thing is that. So standard in is not that. That, hang on. I10. Oh, look at that. Okay. So yeah, I should update this because I could have sworn this was not possible to do. Maybe I'm confusing myself here. I could have sworn that the answer was you could not read a single line of text from J, but apparently you can. Okay. Well, that maybe this was added, or maybe I just misunderstood this many years ago, because this question comes up over and over again. People ask this question, and I thought that the way to do it was to use this. This is called the immediate expression, and it's the idea that that when you're done with that when you're done with executing stuff, and J is about to go back to the prompt, then it will trigger whatever you set with the immediate expression. You know, it is 9 o'clock. I think that tomorrow I will talk more about this, and you know, maybe do a little research into why I thought this was the only way you could make a REPL when clearly you can do you can read a line at a time, and do a REPL like this. So I'll look a little more into how you might make your own REPL, and then regardless of that, I'm still going to make a syntax highlighted REPL using my widget framework. Yeah, we will reconvene tomorrow. So thanks everyone for joining me, especially on this day when I had no idea what I was talking about. And for those of you who are watching this on Twitch, you can also watch the recorded videos on YouTube, youtube.com/c/tangent storm has all my videos up there, including I've gone through and I've tried to add some section titles, so like a table of contents to each of these videos. I haven't done yesterday, but I try to do at least one of those a day. So I upload immediately after this. I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and I will try to put the timestamps in there. And then for those of you watching on YouTube, if you want to catch this live, you can tune in at the bright and early on 8 a.m. at Eastern Time on Twitch, and you can come in and ask questions or make fun of point out my numerous mistakes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.